Hello students, today we will see the conditional statements and converse from your mathematics part 2 topic number 1 basic concepts in geometry. So let us learn conditional statements and converse. The statements which can be written in the if dash then form are called conditional statements. Means maybe you have studied this in English that the statements which we are written in if then form are called conditional statements. If you will do study, you will get nice marks in your exam. If there will be clouds in the sky, then there is the possibility of rain. So like these statements are known as conditional statements. The part of the statement following if is called antecedent. Okay, which part? The part of the statement which is following if. This part is known as antecedent. antecedent. And the part of following then is called consequent. Do you understand this? What is meant by conditional statement? The statement is in the form if dash then is called conditional statement. The part which is following if is known as antecedent and the part which is following then is called consequent. Now here they given one example. We will see that example. For example, consider the statement. The diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisector of each other. Now we will write this statement in if then form. Then the statement can be written in the conditional form as if the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, then its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. If the antecedent and consequent in a given conditional statement are interchanged, the resulting statement is called the converse of the given statement. Means the part which is following if, it will come after then, and the part which is following then it will come after if. Then the resulting statement is known as the converse of that given statement. If a conditional statement is true, its converse is not necessarily true. Means if we are saying any conditional statement it is true, then maybe its converse is true, otherwise not. Study the following examples. We will study the following examples. Now again they given the conditional statement, that is if a quadrilateral is a rhombus, then its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. You have studied this property in standard 8. Now we will see the converse of this statement. If the diagonals of quadrilateral are perpendicular bisectors of each other, then it is a rhombus. In the above example, the statement and its converse are true. In this example, both the given statement as well as the converse of that statement both are true. Now consider the following example. Now we will consider one more example. Conditional statement is if a number is a prime number, then it is even or odd. You know about prime numbers. The number which factors or which divisors are 1 and that number itself. This number is known as a prime number. As well as you know the even numbers and odd numbers also. Now we will make the converse of this statement. If a number is even or odd, then it is a prime number. Is it true? No. In this example, the statement is true, but its converse is false because all the even or all the odd numbers are not the prime numbers. Between that, some numbers are composite numbers. So, the converse of this statement is false. Now, we will learn about proofs. Now, let us learn about proofs. We have studied many properties of angles, triangles and quadrilaterals through activities. In this standard, we are going to look at the subject of geometry with a different point of view, which was originated by the Greek mathematician Euclid, who lived in the 3rd century before Christian era. He gathered the knowledge of geometry prevailing at his time and streamlined it. He took for granted some self-evident geometrical statements which were accepted by all and called them postulates. He showed that on the basis of the postulate, some more properties can be proved logically. Properties proved logically are called theorems. Some of Euclid's postulates are given below. Now look here, the properties which we will prove logically. These properties are called as theorems, and postulates means some true statements which were accepted by all over the world or all over the universe. Now we will see some of Euclid's postulates are given below. We will see the postulates of Euclid. First, there are infinite lines passing through a point. Means if you will draw a point and infinite lines can pass through the single point. These properties you have studied in standard 6th and you verified also that properties. Now second one is there is one and only one line passing through 2 points. If we will take anywhere any 2 points and you will join these 2 points, then you will get one and only one line. Next postulate is a circle of given radius can be drawn taking any point as its center. Means we will take particular length of the radius and any one point you can draw the circle from that radius, and that point is known as the center of the circle. Now for these, all right angles are congruent with each other. All right angles are congruent with each other means the measure of the right angle is 90 degree. So all right angles measure is 90 degree. So they are congruent with each other. Fifth postulate is if two interior angles formed on one side of a transversal of two lines add up to less than two right angles, then the lines produced in the direction intersect each other. Means you have studied the property about interior angles, and the interior angles made by parallel lines and transversal, they are supplementary. Supplementary angles means their measure is 180 degree. So 90 plus 90 is equal to 180 degree. So here they given it is less than two right angles, because if we will add two right angles, then the measure of these two right angles is 180 degree. Next, we have verified some of these postulates through activities. Now, we will see the information about theorem. A property is supposed to be true if it can be proved logically. It is then called a theorem. This property is known as the theorem. Which property? A property is supposed to be true if it can be proved logically. When we will prove logically any property, then this property is known as the theorem. The logical argument made to prove the theorem is called the proof. For proving property, whatever logical arguments we will make, that is known as the proof of that theorem. When we are going to prove that a conditional statement is true, its antecedent is called given part and the consequent is called the part to be proved. Means antecedent, you know it very well. What is meant by antecedent? Antecedent means the part following if, or the statement following if. This statement is known as antecedent. So that is our given part of the theorem, and the statement following then is called consequent. So that part in proof we are writing to be proved. There are two types of proofs. These proofs are direct proof and indirect proof. There are how many types of proofs? Two types of proofs. These are direct proofs and indirect proofs. Let us give a direct proof of the property of angles made by two intersecting lines. This property also you have studied in your previous classes. So, we will see the direct proof of this property. So, first of all, while writing the theorem, we are writing the statement of this theorem. So, this is the theorem statement, first point. Then you have to draw the figure related with that theorem. From that theorem statement, you have to write the given part. Then to prove, if we did any construction in that theorem, then that, and after that you have to write the proof. Okay, so we will see the proof of the statement or the property of angles made by two intersecting lines. First of all, I will read the theorem, statement of the theorem. The opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines are of equal measure. Now look, what is given part here? You will think that here if and then is not there. Then what to do? Look here. What is given? The opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines. Means that is your given part. Which is your given part? The opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines. And what you have to prove? Are of equal measures. Means these equal measures you have to prove it. If the opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines, then these angles are of equal measures. For that, first of all, we have to draw the figure. Here, they given the figure 1.15 in your book. What they given here? See here, the line AB and the line CD intersect each other at point O. Okay, such that A dash O dash B means O is in between A and B, and C dash O dash D. C is in between O. O is in between C and D. Now from that we will write the given part, that is line AB and line CD intersect at point O such that A dash O dash B and C dash O dash D. Now what we want to prove? That they are of equal measures. So here angle made by the intersecting lines. Which angles they made? First angle, this angle AOC means this upside angle is equal to angle BOD means this downside angle. We have to prove these two angles are equal measures or they are congruent with each other. One more angle is there, that is angle BOC and angle AOD. If you will see, these are the vertical opposite angles. Okay. Now this is the thing to prove. Now we will see the proof of this statement. Look here. Now if you will see, then angle AOC means this angle and angle BOC means here's angle. If you will see, these two angles forms the linear pair. So these are the angles in linear pair. So we had written angle AOC plus angle BOC is equal to 180 degree. This is equation number 1. And reason for that is angles in linear pair. Now next is angle BOC. Okay. Angle BOC means this same angle. Plus angle BOD nearby the angle. These two angles are in linear pair. So we had written statement equation number 2 and reason angles in linear pair. If you will see the equation 1 and equation 2, the which part? Right side of this equation is equal. So we can write the left side is also equal. So here angle AOC plus angle BOC is equal to angle BOC plus angle BOD. If you will see here, the angle BOC is common in between both the sides. So it will cancel with each other. Then what remain there? Angle AOC and angle BOD. Therefore, angle AOC is equal to angle BOD, eliminating angle BOC. Okay, so we have proved the first point from your proof. Angle AOC is equal to angle BOD. Similarly, if you will take another angles in linear pair, you can prove the angle BOC is equal to angle AOD. Do you understand this theorem? Write this theorem in your notebook. Whatever figures you will draw here, this figure you should draw by using scale and pencil. Okay, now we will see the indirect proof. This type of proof starts with an assumption that the consequence is false. Using it and the properties accepted earlier, we start arguing step by step and reach a conclusion. First we are assuming whatever given statement is, that is false, and then we are proving the theorem. The conclusion is contradictory with the antecedent or a property which is already accepted. Hence the assumption that is the consequent is false goes wrong. So it is accepted that the consequent is true. Now we will study the following example for indirect proof. Now statement of the theorem is a prime number greater than 2 is odd. Now look, I said to you what is meant by prime number, and here 2 is the even prime number. Now conditional statement is, we will take any prime number So we denote the prime number by the small letter p. If p is a prime number greater than 2, then it is odd. That is your conditional statement. Now look, given part is what we have to prove. P is a prime number greater than 2. That is 1 and p are the only divisors of p. Why? Because we had taken p is a prime number, and prime number means the number which has only two divisors, that is 1 and the number itself. Now what we want to prove? P is an odd number. Now for that we'll assume that p is not an odd number. So if p is not an odd number, then p is an even number. And which is the even prime number? That you know that 2 is the even prime number. So here a divisor of p is 2. This is our first equation. But it is given that p is a prime number greater than 2. Therefore 1 and p are the only divisors of p. And if 1 and p are the only divisors of p, then our statement 1 and 2 are contradictory statements. Means our assumption that p is not odd is false. Means p is a odd number. This proves that a prime number greater than 2 is odd. Why? Because there is only one even prime number, that is 2. So this statement we proved by indirect proof. Maybe you had understand all these things, whatever I explain now. Again, what you have to do? Write down or note down all the things in your notebook and solve the practice set based on this explanation, as well as you have to solve the problem set 1 based on this whole information. Okay, till that time, till my previous video, you have to complete this work. Write these all things, solve the problem sets in your notebook. Okay, be safe at your home. Thank you and bye.